Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Peak Performers. This is episode number 9. Today we have an amazing guest with us, Daymond Sewall. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thanks for having me. I am very, very honored to be here.
Awesome. Give you a little background on Daymond. Daymond is an author of the book, The Shredded Executive, and owner of several fitness-related companies. His reputation and brand is built on his brash, unfiltered, raw personality. You will see that come out in spades tonight. You may, if you're hearing this on your car and there's kids in the car, please put on the earbuds because what's going to come your way is going to be raw. You may not like what he has to say, but I'm telling you, you should see the results that he's getting. Warning, this is an adults-only episode. There will be strong language, cursing. The F-bomb will be dropped repeatedly. If this language offends you, do not listen. Turn off this episode immediately. You can tune in tomorrow for our normal G-rated shows.
Awesome.
He brings it. You know, I got to tell you, Daymond, that you inspired me the other day. I'm on a 30-day run to get to my next photo shoot. And I've stayed in pretty good shape, but not the shape I really need to. And you really inspired me with that 10-day challenge to go out and just cut out all sugar. And it has been amazing.
Awesome. What day are you on right now?
I'm on day 4, and I'm 6.2 pounds down. And I was not fat to begin with.
Yeah, it happens pretty quick whenever you do that. So I'm actually not surprised you're down 6 pounds already. 10 pounds is the average just within the first 10 days. And day 4 is the first day where you're actually starting to feel good.
Man, I feel great. And what's really nice is that preparing the meals has been really, really easy.
Yeah, it's super simple.
So it's been great. Anyway, I want to dive right in, and I want you to share with our audience those techniques, those tools, and those strategies that you implement on a daily basis that produce the results that you produce. You have to, please go over and check out his Facebook page. Check out Shredded Executive. This dude is the real deal.
Thank you. So what is it that you would actually like to know?
Well, everyone listening here is executing at a particular level. And what I find is that peak performers have these certain tricks, the tools, techniques, strategies, and mindset. And I know your mindset is just incredible. How do you start your day? What's your routine like?
My day, I wake up at 4 a.m. 7 days a week to start my day because I have insanely high goals and I want to get up before the world and start changing it before people even wake up and get that extra step and jump on achieving my goals before most people even start their day. So I'm a little on the crazy side. So 4 a.m. 7 days a week and I'm getting to hustling. But the main thing, really one of the easiest ways that I can answer this question for you is, and I'm a huge believer of this, and this is one of the reasons why my clients are so successful, is every single thing that you want in life, everything from health to fitness to energy to happiness to a great mood to every single thing that you want, all stems from your diet. Your nutrition is the one most important element of your life. In order to get anything that you want, you have to have your diet dialed in. So when I start my day, my day, besides the fact that I wake up at 4 a.m., another one of the things that I do as soon as I wake up too is I actually have a notebook. And every day when I wake up, the first thing that I do is write down 3 to 10 things that I am grateful for. So right there, I'm already changing my physiology, focusing on the good stuff and the great stuff that I already have in my life, which already puts me in a good mood. The second thing that I do on the same notebook is I also write down my goals, my top most important goals that I want to achieve, whether it be in the next 10 years or within the next year. And I write those down every single day, first thing in the morning. So I'm already focused from the moment I wake up. And then obviously I eat a healthy meal and then I'm ready to rock.
Unbelievable. You know what jumped out at me when I was reading over your bio, and I did not mention, I apologize, is that you're a former Marine. I don't know if there is any such thing as a former Marine.
Once a Marine,
Always
always
a Marine.
Yeah.
One of the things I really respect about you is you really walk your talk every single day. I go to the gym 7 days a week, and people go, how can you do that? I was like, how can I not do that? That's just who I am. It's part of my identity.
Yes, that's absolutely one of the things that I try and teach people is that you have to make nutrition and training has to be just who you are. It has to be as regular as you waking up and brushing your teeth, or as regular as you waking up and setting your goals and doing your gratitude. Whatever it is that you do that you have a habit, you have to make that your habit.
Tell me some of the best advice that you've received in business.
Wow. Man, there's one book. Oh my gosh, there's so many things. I do a lot of personal development. A lot. Like when I drive, I don't listen to the radio. When I'm driving, I'm listening to audiobooks. And a lot of them I listen to over and over and over again because just like as you know, every time that you go through it, you're going to be picking up more. You're going to be at a different stage in your life, so you're going to learn something new, learn something different, or be reminded of something that you already forgot. I do a lot of reading and I do a lot of audiobooks. Any free time that I have, I'm like, seriously, I'm doing some form of personal development, reading scientific articles, reading stuff on nutrition, reading the latest science. So I think that really, if you really boil down the root of everything that I do, it's simple business trick. This is actually something I learned in the Marine Corps. And this is where everything stems from, is this one phrase. And this was something we were taught in the military. And it goes, constantly seek self-improvement.
Nice.
And that is really the root of why I'm constantly always learning. I'm always applying new things. I'm always focused on new things. I'm always, just constantly always trying to improve what I'm already even great at. So even the stuff that I've already got mastered, I'm still improving it.
Yeah. Have you read the Compound Effect by?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome
book. That's
book.
one of my faves.
Awesome.
One of the best books that I have read and been through many, many times, which I recommend to every business owner, is Grant Cardone's, which is, you know who Grant Cardone is, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
Grant Cardone is the man. But the number one book of his that I highly recommend every single business owner do or read is called "If You're Not First, You're Last."
Yes.
It's brilliant.
Great book.
So that one. And then using all those tactics in there on how to build your business, and then right after that, doing the 10 times rule, so that way it teaches you how to hustle.
He's a great author.
Absolutely, one of my favorites.
All right, so that was the best advice. What's some bad advice that you received that you actually implemented?
When it comes to business, or when it comes to
personal,
fitness?
Either or.
Oh man,
because I don't separate the two. They're who I am.
There's a lot of bad advice I've had. I say oh gosh, here's one. One of the worst things, this is fitness wise. When I first started competing years ago, I actually hired a coach, somebody I looked up to help me kind of guide me in the right direction, because I had never competed before and I wanted to learn the ins and outs. And basically the plan that he put me on was very, very like high rep. Obviously when you're doing high reps, you can't really lift very heavy. On top of that, have it doing 45 to 60 minutes of cardio twice a day. And I knew better back then, but I thought, well, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it anyway. And what ended up happening is this back then is when I used to compete in bodybuilding, and I'm natural, right? So I am completely 100% natural. I don't touch any type of performance enhancing drugs whatsoever. And I had hired this coach right before going to nationals, because I had already qualified for nationals. I started prepping for nationals, and I hired this coach before then, like 3 months before, and I started doing all this cardio, knowing that I shouldn't do the cardio because it's being a natural athlete. It's basically going to set you up for muscle loss, right? So I'm doing 45 to 60 minutes twice a day on top of my lifting, which wasn't even that great because it was the higher rep version, right? I knew better, but I did it anyway because I was just doing what I was told, right? by the time I had gotten to nationals, yeah, I was shredded, but man, I had lost so much muscle. My legs that I had spent my whole life trying to build up, which weren't even that big to begin with, they were decently sized, were gone. I was literally walking on pencils because of all the muscle loss from all the excessive cardio that I had been doing over the past few months. So that was probably the worst advice I had ever gotten, that I had put to use. And then after that, I was like, I'm never listening to anybody ever again. I'm just going to do what I know science has proven, and I'm going to break the mold. And then that's what I've been doing ever since. So from that, from business advice, you know what? I honestly haven't gotten any bad business advice, because the only advice I have gotten is from, my books, and it's all great proven stuff. So, so from a business perspective, I haven't gotten any bad advice, because even if I did, I would brush it off anyway.
Well, and something I want to point out here too is that when he says that he's natural, he won't even do a protein bar or a protein shake. Because that stuff's just loaded with crap.
Yeah. So, and for those of you who are listening, let me explain to you real fast why. And oh my gosh,
come on, tell them. Give it to them.
I get this question all the fucking time. What's the best protein powder? What's the best protein bar? Here's the best protein bar. No fucking protein bar. No fucking protein powder. That's the best one. Okay? And here's why. These things, okay, for one, they're highly processed. Number two, they are full of sweeteners. Whether it be artificial or real, they have sweeteners. And when you eat anything that has a sweetener in it, it is going to trigger cravings for more sugar, more sweets, and you're going to end up overeating, or you're going to end up eating 15 protein bars. So either way, you're going to overconsume, which is going to lead to your ass getting fat. So no fucking protein bars and no fucking protein shakes. Eat real food, okay? Real food. If you can pick it directly from a plant or it had a mother, you can eat it. If you can't, don't touch it.
Next question. There are so many trainers out there and people that consider themselves guru in the fitness, weight loss, exercise arena. They're a dime a dozen. What separates you from the rest of the pack?
Oh, man, there's a lot. There's a lot of things.
I know we only have 50 minutes here, but tell us what you
got. I'd say here's the deal, man. Most coaches, I actually just had this conversation in my networking group this morning. But most coaches in this industry don't know shit about nutrition. Most of them are still teaching the whole low fat, just terrible, terrible, terrible nutritional advice that you could possibly. They're still teaching low fat, high rep, low weight bullshit. They're still teaching that to this day. Most coaches don't know shit when it comes to nutrition and training. And on top of that, oftentimes when you see these coaches, especially like anybody who's like most competitors and especially most pro competitors, which is where a lot of people want to go to whenever they want, to achieve a certain look, these guys are not natural. They are on drugs. So what they can do themselves, you cannot do as a natural person. You go have like these pro bodybuilders that spend hours a day doing cardio. You do that, you're going to end up like you're going to be like me. You're going to end up like skinny dude with no legs and no arms because you did too much damn cardio. Now, somebody who's on performance enhancing drugs, they can get away with that because those drugs are helping them maintain the muscle, even though they're doing all this extended, like steady state cardio. And like I was saying, they don't know shit about nutrition. Nutrition is something that I have mastered. I have literally written the book on how to get shredded and how to train to get shredded doing zero cardio. Zero, because I say no. Okay? We don't do cardio. No low intensity, steady state bullshit. That stuff is illegal, off limits, because we want to be able to maintain your body, your muscle, and to maintain certain hormones that are within your body. When you do cardio, man, it does the complete opposite of what you're looking for. So when it comes to me being different than anybody else, there's a few things. Number one, I'm a nutrition specialist. Number two, my training is absolute madness. Nobody trains as hard as I train and my clients train. Nobody. We train insane all the time. The other thing too is what sets me apart too, and this is hell, that's why I'm on this podcast, is my brashness. One of the reasons why I am so successful is because I don't blow smoke up people's asses. Most trainers they're, they feel almost like they lack confidence in themselves. So they feel like they have to kind of like blow smoke and, oh, you're doing so great. Oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. No, bitch, you're doing terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to get your shit together. Your diet sucks. You're cheating. I can tell. You're fatter than you think you are. Get your shit together. I expect you to be better. That is the difference. So I will say what needs to be said, not always what you want to be said. I'm very fun and I'm crack jokes and I have a lot of fun, but at the same time, I'm not going to allow you to give half-ass effort. I'm not going to allow you to fail. I'm not going to allow you to cheat. I'm going to call you out when you're fucking up, and I'm going to make sure you do it right so you get to where you want to be. And that's truly where my success is based off of. And for most people, and I wouldn't say most people, but a lot of people cannot handle the brashness. They can't handle the raw, unfiltered things that I say. But the ones that do, those are the ones that thrive. Those are the ones that get shredded. Those are the ones that triple, quadruple, 10 times their income because of the confidence and the self-discipline that they have developed from getting their body in check, and the mindset training that I do on top of that. That's another part of it too. Besides me being brash, I do a lot of stuff to program people's subconscious mind for success. So a lot of the things that I'm asking them and saying to them is to program their mind to succeed. I ask a lot of questions, and I do a lot of little strategies and tactics to help program their mind.
I'm always telling my audience that you can't fix a lie. If you can't tell the truth where you're currently at, you can't fix it. If you go into the gym and say, look, I just have a couple pounds to lose, and you've got 30, you're not going to have the right system.
Yes.
Because you're going to have the wrong plan. You have to admit where you are.
Yes. Self-awareness is one of the key components of change. Like, you have to realize, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so brash. I'm bringing it to people's attention. They don't even realize what they're doing. They don't even realize like how bad they really are. They don't realize how much they're really messing up until I call them out on it. And sometimes people cry. Sometimes people get pissed off. But guess what happens the next day? Guess what happens the next week? They say, you know what? You were right. Thank you. Thank you for being the first person that has ever said that to me. Because the reality is, man, when it comes to, especially for women, when it comes to people getting in shape, everyone in your life is going to lie to you. Everybody is going to lie to you. They're going to tell you, oh, you look great. Oh, you look good for having kids. You don't need to work out. You don't need to eat healthy. Bullshit. You look fucking terrible. You should look way fucking better. You need to get your diet on point because you look like trash. And this is unacceptable. You need to raise your fucking standards and live better.
It affects every area of life.
It does. Absolutely. That's what I was saying just a minute ago about, matter of fact, one of the reasons why I wrote the book, The Shredded Executive, was it's actually, everybody can benefit from it, but I actually really target it to entrepreneurs and executives because I truly love to train them. Because what happens is when people learn to master themselves, they master themselves getting up early, they master their nutrition, they master their body, and they create these habits and these disciplines, their businesses take off because the disciplines that they get from this, they start putting into their business, and their businesses just freaking explode. And it is, I truly, like, on top of the fact that I love getting people six packs. Like, it's my favorite freaking thing to do is just get people six packs, right? But on top of that, I love getting them rich. I love it. Like, it's one of my favorite things. I love it. Like, ripped and rich is what I'm all after, man. I want you living the highest quality of life possible, and it all begins by what you achieve in the gym.
That is the basis. You got to have that foundation.
Yeah.
Look, you run a gym. You're a personal trainer. You're a dad. You're a husband. You wrote a book that took thousands of hours to write.
Oh, man, you have no idea.
How do you get it all done? Because, what happens is with anybody, a lot of times we know exactly what to do, but we just can't figure out how to get it all executed. What are you doing?
You know what? The simple answer is get the fuck up earlier. That's the only way you can get it done. That's why I wake up at 4 a.m. It's the only way you can get it done, because at 4 a.m. in the morning, there's no kids up. I have total free time to do what I need to do with no distractions. The world is not awake yet. So I'm already cranking away on whatever it is I need to do before the world even gets up, before the kids even get up. So that is my time to hustle.
Yeah,
So,
I agree 100%. I get up at 4:59, and I said I'm not going to get up at 5 because I want to beat all those slackers that sleep until 5.
Yeah, people are like, I got up at 5 today. I'm like, why are you sleeping in? But that's really how I made the time. And I actually got that from one of Grant Cardone's books. I think it was Sell or Be Sold. He mentioned something about that, about getting up earlier so he had more time to spend with his kids. And it totally just clicked for me. And it was like, man, I'm spending all this time. And I always got up early anyway. I used to get up like 4:45 or 5 a.m. every day anyway. He said something about getting up earlier so that way you can get more work done so you can spend more time with your family. And it just clicked, because I had noticed at that time in my life, my business and all the work that I was putting in was consuming like all of my time with my family. And I got a lot of kids, man.
That's a lot of kids,
and I got a gorgeous wife, and it was like I felt guilty that I was, so successful in one area, and I'm like, you know what, I need to change something so I can spend more time with them. I can invest more time with them. And that was my answer, was get up earlier and hustle harder.
Well, I feel bad for your wife, because when those kids get a little bit bigger, that is a lot of testosterone in one household.
Oh, man. I tell her, poor girl, she's surrounded by testosterone. But the thing is I have 17, 15, 9, and then a 4-month-old. So we have a big spread between the last two. And we just call them kids 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's just easier that way. But the oldest one is 17, man. So there's already a lot of testosterone. The 15-year-old too. So there's a lot of testosterone with those guys already. But yeah, my poor wife is surrounded by testosterone all day long.
And I'm sure those apples don't fall far from the tree.
No, they're very. The 2 and 3 are very type A type mentalities too. So just like me. So. The first one, number 1, he's a little more kicked back and laid back, but the 2 and 3, and I think 4, he's already got type A type mentality showing. So she's in a lot of trouble whenever he gets older.
I'm almost afraid to ask this question because I can't imagine it being true, but what is your biggest weakness? I can't imagine you having one.
The thing is because I always live by that quote, constantly seeking self-improvement, when I am aware of something or I notice something is slacking, I immediately do something about it. I'm not a person to see something and let it continue to happen. If I see that there's an area of my life that needs improvement, I'm on it instantly. And I'm immediately like, all right, how can I fix this? How can I make this better? What can I do and brings a good point. And this brings a good point that's applicable to your listeners too. So you guys listen to this. Anytime that you feel like you have an issue that you don't have control over, and you need to be focusing first on your mindset. So if you have the mindset like I can't because, or I'm too busy to, or I don't, blah, 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 what's happening is when you think like that, you're basically shutting your brain's ability off to figure out a solution. So what you need to do instead is to ask yourself better questions. So instead of saying I don't or I can't or something along those lines, which is shutting you off, ask yourself, all right, how can I do this? How can I make time to work out? How can I do this better? And when you start asking yourself better questions, your brain is going to find solutions. And it may not be right there in the moment. It may be, but what'll happen is your brain is going to start looking subconsciously and searching for a solution. So you may go to sleep one night and wake up in the morning and go, bing, I got an idea. But the key is you have to change the way you think about things and your mindset and ask yourself better questions. So to answer your question, as for a weakness, I think the only weakness that I have is that And I wouldn't even really classify it as a weakness. Is just that I am man, I'm crazy obsessed about achieving success in every area. I'm so obsessed about getting people abs. My son's name is Abs.
That is awesome.
No joke. His name is Abs. His name is actually Axel Braden Sewell, but his initials spell Abs. So everybody calls him Abs already. So he's got some high standards and shoes to fill to live up to.
Well, it all comes down to identity. One of my email addresses is Thor64198. Well, my name is Thor. I'm 6'4", and I'm not at 198 yet, but that's the way I see myself, and that's my goal, and that's where I want to be. Identity is so important.
Absolutely. But to answer your question, once my head is on the pillow, I'm out, man. I can control my sleep instantly. It's just a matter of actually, getting off my phone, getting off my computer, and actually winding down. But since my little man's been born, I've actually been much better with it. So because we pretty much get in bed about the same time we put him down. So I've been much better at getting asleep. And also the other thing that helped too was finally getting this book published, man. Oh, this took years and years and thousands of hours to put together. And it took up so much of my attention subconsciously for so many years that now that it's finally done and it's published, it's freed up so much of my brain space to be able to focus on a lot of other areas.
And I got to tell you, you did an incredible job with that book. I was just talking about that yesterday. I said, for somebody coming out of the box and creating this, it is really, really good. And I'm not just saying that because you're the guest. I mean, it is a phenomenal book. It's not a cheap book. It's on Amazon, is it not?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, yeah.
And what is it, $29?
No, it's 35 to 39, depending on if you're doing Kindle or paperback.
Yeah, for a paperback. For as far as paperback goes, that's an expensive book. I'm telling
absolutely.
You got to get this book.
Oh yeah, it's 13 years of experience with all the. I mean, it's literally It wasn't until a few years ago that I actually developed this systematic way of doing things, the way to think, the way to eat, the way to train, the way to do all these things. And I basically took the best stuff that I have ever implemented in my businesses and in myself, and I put it in this book as a system so you can follow it step by step by step to get to where you want to be.
I spend $75 an hour for my trainer. For half that cost, I get 13 years worth of knowledge.
Exactly, within one cover. And it's got 100 times more information than even your trainer knows.
I just got to keep the pictures of you away from my girlfriend. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your 13-year-old self if you had the ability to go back?
If I was to go back and tell my 13-year-old self, I would have told my 13-year-old self to start doing personal development at 13. Yes. That would have been what I would have told, because I didn't even start doing this. Because see, I learned to constantly seek self-improvement when I was in the military, and it wasn't until I was out of the military I got out when I was 22. It was about 28, I think, was when I first got introduced to personal development. Constantly seek self-improvement in the military, is done in many other ways. You can improve yourself in many other ways. But I never thought or even heard of anybody even reading books to do that. And it wasn't until I was 28 and my manager at the time, when I first started training, actually introduced me to the movie The Secret. That was the movie that triggered like this whole like aha moment where I was like, wow. And then I started doing a bunch of research on all the people who were on The Secret, like a lot of the authors and everything, and started looking into their books. And I bought some of their books and I started reading them and applying them. And my life just started to accelerate at levels I had never seen before. And I was like, holy moly, this is insane. So I just continued to do it. And now here I am. So
that's awesome.
But that's what I would tell my 13-year-old self.
You got it dialed in. What advice would you give that listener out there, man or woman? They've tried to get in shape. They've tried to take care of their diet. And of course, I use the word try. That never works. But they're at the point where like, I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. I'm sure you've heard that a gazillion times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What?
Step one is, first off, quit being a little bitch. Okay, that's step one, because the fact that you just mentioned it right there, the word trying right there. What is it? What does that entail?
There is no try.
Exactly. There's no commitment. If you're just trying, you're not committed to the process. In order to get the body and get the life, you have to be obsessed about it. And when I say obsessed, I mean obsessed about everything that goes in your mouth, about how you spend your day, about everything. You have to be obsessed about being successful at getting that body if you ever want to succeed in it. On top of that, like I mentioned earlier, the number one most important thing when it comes to you getting your diet in check is you have to kick the sugar addiction. Okay? In case some of you guys don't know this, sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine, which is why all of you are fat. Okay? All of you have excess body fat because you are constantly overeating processed foods. These processed foods, when you eat them, they have sugar in them. Even the ones that aren't technically sugar by nature, they are sugar as soon as you eat them. For example, bread, pasta, cereals, things like that. As soon as that hits your body, it is just like eating sugar or worse. So the first step is to kick the sugar addiction, because you are all addicts, just like a crackhead. And just like a crackhead has to kick the habit cold turkey, you got to do the same thing. And you're going to go through withdrawals. You're going to have a detox period. And it's just like a drug. And people use it as a drug and don't even realize it. They eat certain foods or go to certain restaurants for, because they think that they're chasing a taste, when really what it is they're chasing the feeling the food gives them. And this is why we have the food addiction. So on top of the sugar addiction is kicking that habit. On top of that, you got to eat real food. And on top of that, you need to make sure you're eating fats. Okay, for those of you who are dinosaurs and aren't up to date with the science, it's not the fats in foods that are making you fat. As a matter of fact, if you eat more good fats, it will help you burn fat. Okay, so it's not the fats making you fat. So if you know anybody that is teaching you low fat, run from them. They are outdated fools. Fats are vital to your bodily functions, vital to your metabolism, vital for your hormones. They're vital for everything. So eliminate the processed foods, eat more protein and fats, and eat your damn veggies. And then, on top of that, get your ass in the gym and lift some weights and get off the fucking treadmill. And ellipticals. Lift some damn weights. Heavy. You're not going to get bulky, ladies. You're not. You don't have steroids.
You mentioned when you started this is that you have to become addicted to this idea. How do you take a client that walks in overweight, middle age, just doesn't have the stamina or the willpower to do it? How do you help them over that first part to get them engaged?
The key thing is fixing their food issue first.
Really? Okay.
And their mindset, yeah. Because as long as they have that food addiction, that food addiction is going to justify them always going to that food when they're stressed or when they have issues or whatever. The first thing is kicking that habit. Once they kick that habit, they gain control over their minds and their bodies so much more effectively and so much better.
Interesting. So, I never thought of it that way, but it makes total sense, because take care of the physiology first.
Yes.
And then
that
you don't
helps them get their mind in check, because when it comes to getting fit, this journey is a psychological journey.
It is. It's totally. And that's why I was confused that you said to take care of a diet first, but it makes total sense.
Because that addiction is controlling how you think and how you behave.
Man, so I love that.
You have to kick that habit. Once you kick that habit, then you actually start to gain control over how you feel and how you think and the thoughts that you have more effectively. So that's phase one. Phase two is really just programming their mind, like I mentioned earlier. They have to actually, because really people see their world from their perception. Okay, and everybody's lens that they look at that they see life through is completely different. So really, a lot of the way people see things is you just have to change their perspective. You just have to change the lens that they see their life through. And when you start to make them see things from a different way and from a different angle, they completely change the way that they think and behave.
And starting that through the diet is, I think, brilliant.
Absolutely. That is the most important element.
Well, I know everyone listening now is clamoring at the fact of how they get a hold of you. Tell the audience how they can get a hold of you, how they can get your book, your website, podcast, etc.
Okay, yeah. So my book, you can get it on multiple places. I have a website for it called theshreddedexec.com. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. You can email me. I'll send you a link. It's totally fine. You can find me on Facebook under Daymond Sewall or under Instagram under Superhero Strong. And I'm always open for ideas. My podcast, it's on iTunes and Stitcher. It is called Shredcast because it's all about getting people shredded, baby, because that's what I love to do. So those are all the avenues that you can reach me. If you ever have any ideas for a podcast or a video or anything or a question, hit me up. Ask me. I'm always open to help people out. Always.
And he gets right back to you.
I might call you out on your shit or tell you your question was stupid.
What do you mean might?
or tell you that, or just I will call you out if it's a stupid question, but I will rephrase it in a way that's going to make you think, so that way you know how to ask a better question. But yeah, I'm always open to it. So if you're not following me yet, follow me, okay? And ask away, comment, post, everything. I am a huge social media guru, so I'm always on there, and I'm always answering questions and emails and so forth, unless they're really, really stupid and I don't even bother wasting my time on them. But if it's a good question, I will get to it.
Well, man, you've been a real inspiration for me, and more than just an inspiration, you've also given me the tools and the knowledge that, quite frankly, was just so clear and just made so much sense. On this podcast, we interview entrepreneurs, business leaders, professional athletes, scientists, and really, you're several of those combined. And seriously, I mean, your book is not based on ideas or thoughts.
Opinion.
No,
it's
it's based on science.
Yeah, it's fact.
And you lay it out in a way that people can follow it. It's easy. When I said I read your book, I got it. I read it in 2 days. You wrote back, you're like, read it again.
Yeah, the big thing is that with the way that I teach things is I try and simplify stuff. People don't need to know all the scientific mumbo jumbo. They don't need to know all this crazy stuff like that they're not going to understand. So I basically dumb it down and just tell people what they need, the nuts and bolts that they need, so that way they can get what they want. So I simplify everything. I even do the same thing with my nutrition for my clients. It's simple.
Daymond, thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for all those PEDs, performance enhancing disciplines. Thanks so much, and we look forward to having you on a future show. Question of the day: what area of your health and fitness have you not been addressing to the level that you should or need? Call to action: decide today to make a commitment to forming the foundation that is going to help you in all areas of life, your health and your fitness. Thank you once again for listening. If you're not already subscribed to the show, please go to iTunes, subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating. Please share this episode with family, friends, coworkers, or anyone that could benefit from this information. If you don't already follow us, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Our website is thorconklin.com. Any questions or comments, please send them to info@thorconklin.com. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. Until tomorrow, have an absolutely